So good day. Today I'm going to be actually replacing one of the letters in my vinyl name. As you can see, the H is damaged, and so I'm going to be removing just the H. So when I had the name made for the boat, I actually asked the printer to make me two extra ones so that I can actually replace the whole thing or replace the letters as needed. So for some reason the H got damaged. So in preparation I used the masking tape. You'll notice that the masking tape, I only put it along the edge of the letter, and then I let it, I made sure it wasn't stuck to the other one, and I left it up. So when I'm going to put the hair dryer to heat up the letter, it'll deflect the heat away from the adjacent letters, in this case the A and the O. So to replace the vinyl letter on my boat, what you're going to need is a hair dryer to heat, some masking tape. You'll need a soft spatula, because when you're going to be putting the vinyl letter, you'll be able to squeegee out the soapy water. You'll need, of course, the flat blade, so you'll be able to, as you're heating up the old letter with the hair dryer, be able to scrape it off. You'll need a pair of gloves, or working gloves. I use acetone to then clean up underneath the letter. Once you remove the letter, the residue glue or adhesive, to remove it with the acetone. And then to neutralize and complete that and decontaminate, I then use alcohol. Right? And then once I'm done and I'm ready to put my letter, then I make some soapy water. I use Dawn. Some pros actually use Windex. They spray Windex on the surface where they're going to apply the letter. I use Dawn dishwasher, and I make myself a little bit, about a cup of soapy water. And then of course you'll need a rag to apply the soapy water on the surface. So this is all you need to when you have to replace or install vinyl lettering on your boat. Okay, so now I'm done cleaning it all up with the acetone. I was able to remove all the glue. Using, as it softened up, I was able to use my flat blade to remove the surface. And then I used another clean cloth with more acetone to really clean out the whole surface, so now there's no more glue residue. And I made sure when you're using acetone, don't touch the other vinyl letter, because acetone is really, well, it'll soften that up, and then next thing you know, you have to replace more letters. I don't want to do that. So now I'm going to clean it dry with that 50% mixture of alcohol and water, just to decontaminate and also neutralize the effects of the acetone. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so once the surface is dry, what you're going to need is obviously the vinyl letter that you need to replace it with. You'll need a plastic spatula with a straight edge, making sure that it's not rough along the edges. And then you'll need soapy water with a rag or a face cloth to apply the soapy water on the surface. And we'll be applying that deliberately. I use Dawn because Dawn does not leave a residue on the surface. A lot of people, vinyl or experts, actually they use Windex. They use a Windex spray bottle. They just spray the surface of where they're going to apply the vinyl letter, and that's fine. And then the plastic spatula is, once I place the letter in its spot, I'm going to use that plastic spatula to sort of squeegee the soapy water out from underneath it, so that it actually creates the adhesion to the gel coat or to the hull. Okay, well, I finished the H. Unfortunately, I thought my camera was shooting video, and it wasn't. So that's what I get for not replacing the battery in my remote. So anyways, it was a little bit of a damage on the A letter, so no harm done. So I just cut out the A, and I'm going to install it here, and hopefully this video is working as we speak. So once you have the letter, the place has been cleaned with the acetone and then alcohol and all that, make it nice and clean, you would put tape on each side of the letter here, so just so that you can align it to the way you want it. And don't be afraid. Once you do that, step away from the boat, walk away at a certain distance to see if you like your letter. Let's assume you had the whole word, for example. You would do the same thing, put a piece like that at the end, so that you can move the letters or the word the way you like it. So don't forget, step away, take a look. Is everything lined up the way you want, at the bottom and all that? And so that you're happy. Once you have it set in the right location, for example, let me just line this up here. Let me take a look. Just going to bring it up a little bit. There you go. So that's good. So that's where it should be. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take a longer piece of tape. There you go. Okay. And you're going to put it on top here. So the reason why is now this is going to become a hinge. for when we're going to actually install the letter. So I'm going to remove this from here. I'll remove this one here. And now I'm going to just flip it up. I'm just going to hold it here for a second, like that. So now that I'm holding it in here, now I'm going to put some soapy water on the surface. There you go. Don't be afraid. Put as much as you can, or you want as you want. So that's just mixture. I put a bucket with just a squirt of Joy. I like using Joy. It doesn't leave any residue. Once you're ready now, you take your letter, and then the backing, you start peeling it off like this here. So now I'm peeling off the backing, and as I'm coming down, I'm actually going to scrape it here to remove any air pockets or air bubbles, like that. There you go. So just make sure, don't be in a hurry. Just make sure you're scraping everywhere. You're looking for little air pockets if you see any. And now there's a protective layer here, protective topping. So don't be afraid if you're using a plastic spatula. Chances are you're not damaging a scratch. Just make sure you're always flat and never this way. And there you go. This is nice. Nicely installed. Very happy with it. Squeegeeing. Using like a squeegee action to remove all the soapy water from underneath here. There you go. There you go. So that's pretty much set. I don't see any more bubbles or whatever. So now to remove it, remove the topping, very careful. Don't pull away. Always pull down this way here. So now you're pulling down, so it's actually folded. And the reason you don't want to pull, because if there's any area where it's stuck, you might end up pulling the letter and trapping some more air, and then you end up with an air pocket. If you're pulling it down this way, there you go. There you go. And done. So now all we have to do now is I'm going to wipe that dry with some Scott towels. Now, very important. For the first 2, 3, 4 days, or maybe a week, don't wash it. Don't put wax on it. Don't rub it or anything like that. Just tap it. I'm just going to dab it dry here. You get it all dry, and certainly don't wax it right away. If you put wax on top of that, it'll actually wax does a coating that will prevent the soapy water and the adhesive inside from curing properly. And next thing you know, your letter might start moving or easily come apart or come off. So there you go. So it's that simple, and I know you guys can do it. It's really not rocket science. Like I said, a hair dryer if you're replacing something. If not, just make sure your surface is clean. That's probably the one issue that I see a lot. They just wipe it clean or just with a dry thing rather than taking the time to use either alcohol or acetone to remove any kind of contamination on the surface or even prior wax or whatever. So if you do it right, you're going to be really happy with the results. I certainly am. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please like it and do share with your fellow sailors.